guys, welcome back to Underdog Eventing. This video is of us kind of with Corry's journey. So if you think about it, she was quite a green horse, I was a green rider, and I guess it's a little bit to see how we got on with that journey, because I know it's quite a controversial topic. But this is where we met her, at Hazel Farm. You can't resist those knickers. Our first selfie together. Bex absolutely adored her, because we've got Honey, our pony, but Bex was more of a Corry girl from the start. There she is sitting on her, and we used to lead her around on hacks. Yeah, quite muddy in that photo. And yeah, here we go, first ride. So while you guys are watching this, just as a quick background, we met Corry at the livery yard that we kept Honey at, our little pony, and the lady who owned Corry found her a bit too big, a little bit too green, so we then took her on. She used to be an ex-Broodmare. She was brought back into work, and this is kind of where she was up to, really. Now I will say, put better riders on her, stronger riders on her, and she looked a lot better, but I almost found that she culled into herself too much, overbent. So when Corry's tense, her head either goes up in the air like she is doing here, or she goes completely overbent. I preferred this. So as much as I know there's stronger riders out there, better riders even at this point, but like I say, she would have just overbent and compact herself, and I would rather she was stretching out. So in these early lessons, what we were doing, because I will say we got lessons from the start, I couldn't have done this on my own, we always had help, was to teach her to slow down. So the first step was slow down, and then it was starting to ask her to stretch. But I was watching these videos back, and it's a bit scary actually how fast she was going. And yeah, there we go, hacking in the field. She was so sweet in the field, bless her, having a walk around. But then we moved yards, which you'll see in a second. So they were on a full livery, and now we wanted them onto a DIY. So Christmas Eve, there we are moving, and here we are back having lessons again. So in this time, this was from, I think we started riding in October 2018, and this would be now January 2019. So start of the year. So what's that already? October, November, December, Jan. So it's about 4 or 5 months along this is now. Honestly, riding instructor was so supportive. She was so lovely. It wasn't like judgmental. It'd be like, what on earth are you doing with this horse? So we did have Corry on loan at this point with the plan to buy her, and that was one of the reasons we went on to DIY. One, I love doing it myself. Even now I love doing it myself. I don't really like having horses, like my own horses, on full livery, because I'm quite fussy, and I like the relationship you build on a DIY. But one of the other big reason was because it was a lot cheaper to own two if we had them on a DIY. And we were really lucky at the time, because we moved with our best friend who also had a pony at the time, so it was really sweet. There was 3 of us. We had quite a lot of fun. And Becca went up to get Corry down. Bear in mind, Honey and Frankie were already down at this point, so she was racing to catch up. Here she is acting like a buffoon in the field, you'll see in a minute. And I will say, it's funny, slightly concerning. She was fine, like you see here. She trotted up fine afterwards. But this is one of the main concerns I have with Corry. She is absolutely terrible at knowing where to put her feet, and so when she bolts, that's a little bit scary. Here we are again. We've moved again. So I will say there was another move in between this, but I don't have many videos from that time. But we stayed at the yard you just saw for 2 months. Not 2 months, 6 months. Then we moved to another yard for 6 months. And so now this would be January 2019, I think. And this yard that we're at now, there's no school. It's just a farm, a working farm. And we moved on at the time with an ex-partner of mine and his horse. But honestly, the horses loved the grass. It was definitely worth it, and actually the hacking made us a lot better. Even bareback hacking here. I will say I only stick to walk because I do not have the balance, and Corry is very sensitive, so if you aren't balanced, she panics and runs off. I have tried trot and I fell off. so we stay and walk. But here's a really nice trot. This is where I felt like I was starting to get, so we'd done the stretching and the slow, and this is where I started to learn to have her on a bit more of a contact, and to help with that we also did a lot of lunging. It was kind of, you'll see she's so unbalanced, bless her, she's really trying. You'll see she's got like a lunging aid on, so it's quite I don't know how to put it, it's quite flexible, it's quite loose, so it doesn't fix her head down, but it does encourage her to kind of put her head down, if that makes sense. It's not fixed, she can move, but she'll find that it's actually more comfortable to go a little bit lower, and if she does that, then she'll find she can find her balance a bit better rather than head in the air and just rushing through. So I felt like this really helped her. So, and we did a lot of trot and canter work. So it's a shame we're missing kind of about 6 months worth, because what we found between June 2018 and January 2019 was that Corry was very good at pretending that she was on a contact and made a pretty picture, and then as soon as she'd say canter, it all went to pot. So she wasn't there properly, and so this was me trying to find a way of, there was no balance in her canter, so this is me basically trying to help her out. So lots of lunging to try and help her find her own balance without me on top, possibly making it worse rather than helping. Everyone loves a slow-mo, so here's a nice little slow-mo of that little Frisian fancy trot. And you can see though, even before that slow-mo hit, the canter was a lot calmer, a lot steadier, so that's what we were after. And I think this would have been her. You'll see it's really obvious later which her worst rein is. So then we got help as well, from the lady on the yard, who was very nice. Corry was like really eager to canter, and bear in mind I've had a menage the whole time I had horses, so having just fields was pretty intimidating and scary for me to ride in. You can see here she knows she's going to be cantering, and we're saying no, don't canter yet, just have a nice trot. And every time she was trying to then burst into canter without being asked, I was then circling her around and being like, nope, be a little bit patient, you've got to wait, you can't go without me asking. So this was quite nice, and honestly, like, just having a calm horse that was with us, that wasn't being silly, was helpful. It really built my confidence up. On topic of confidence, two things I will say that helped with the canter work for Corry that helped my confidence was, one, cantering up a hill. It was harder for her to bolt off, so it gave me more confidence asking her to canter up. And the second thing was walk to canter transitions. I felt like trot, it was very quick to get away from you, whereas if you asked for a walk to canter, it was easier to collect her. So if I could give anyone advice who is worried about their confidence in a canter, I would try those two things if you can. So yeah, no canter there, just practicing a trot. But then on the next go round, after we've had a nice warm up, and you'll see cantering up a hill. I remember this always felt faster than it looked. You know, when you look back in videos and it looks a lot slower than how it felt at the time. I'm trying to keep up with the years as well, but here we go again, practicing. So I feel like in this video the speed's the same, but actually I look more confident in that, so that was good work. And the next thing, once this got better, we were able to start cantering a bit more on the flat, and then there was a kind of, someone was coming out to do it wasn't a dressage test, it was like one of those where you pick a dressage test and you show it to the judge, and then they kind of mark it, but they almost give you a lesson on it, if that makes sense. So I don't think this was it, but this was me practicing for it, if that makes sense. But you can kind of see where we're at. So if I was trying to think of a year this would be, It's got to be after COVID, I think. So maybe 2022? No, not 22. This has got to be 2020 or 2021, I think. But I will say what's nice is that you can see she's more relaxed. And I would say the lunging and the hacking really helped and giving her time to settle into it. But nice and relaxed. Kind of trotting around. And you see her head's kind of lower, but she's not consistent. I'd say it's a running theme of ours. And this point as well, I would say since we moved on to the farm, we weren't having lessons. The lady who used to teach me just couldn't travel that far. So then after that dressage that we, like the dressage testy thing that we had, the lady who judged it said she would teach us on grass. So this is my first lesson with her. I think we only had 2, because when you have horses on a farm, it's very weather dependent, and it's also what they are, like what crop they're doing, for example. So I think there's maize on the side, but these fields can sometimes be used for hay. And I think there was mustard in there one year, so it's very kind of dependent on what's growing and when you can use it. Bless her in a little ridey fly mask. I will try to ride in the mornings. I don't like riding in an afternoon or an evening unless I'm going somewhere, so typically you will always find that I ride in mornings because I'm a morning person. And as the day goes on, I don't really want to do anything. Once I've finished riding and walking the dogs and work, I just want to chill out. And that's usually about 7-8 o'clock at night. So actually our mornings usually start at 5:30 in the summer when we're out riding. But yeah, definitely more of a morning person. But that looks quite nice there in the video. And I will say, Jem Bentley, who's teaching us here, is the only person who I've seen get on Corry and I've actually enjoyed watching. She didn't keep her up too tight, she didn't curl her up, and she looked quite confident on her and happy. So it was really nice to see. So that's why I trust her a lot with these dressage lessons. There we go, having a canter round. I think this was her worst rein, or is it? It's really obvious later on which is her worst rein. And I'd say it's still her worst rein. I'm sure it's this way. That's her worst one. And I think in part it's because when we hack in fields, the circuit is going right. So the canter is better going right than it is going left. And after that, I did, like now on hacks, I'm really aware of it. So we try and find some of the straights to practice I'm rubbish at this, but try and practice the opposite rein, basically. And I will say in this video, it's very obvious I've put on weight. I am a big yo-yo dieter person. Not dieter, but I just pick up weight and lose weight quite quickly. And I think I was on the pill at the time, which did not help. But it's fine because I drop it off a little bit later. But I also don't see it at the time, so if you guys see this, it's just because I don't notice it until I watch it in a video and then I sigh about it. I think, do we have a canter on this rein? I'm sure we have it somewhere that we have a canter in a minute. And this is her better rein as well.
Hands forward, rein short. Shorter rein. Good, slowly. Talk to her. Tell her she's good. She's a lovely striker.
So you can see this side's a lot. I find this side is a lot steadier than the other side was. But we just can't quite make a whole circle in those white boards. So one of the things we learned from there, and actually I went and rode some horses, Frisian horses up in the Lake District, and they had Sue Carson saddles, and it was one of the things that we mentioned kind of in the lesson with Jem as well, is the saddle right for us both? And this is where I learnt how important it is to choose the right tack for you and your horse. So though Corry's saddle fitted, it wasn't nice. It wasn't easy to ride in. If she kind of went forward, you went back out of the saddle, if that makes sense. So the lady in the lakes at the time was using Sue Carson. She recommended them, so I got in touch, and we had to have an arena to have the saddle fitted. So this was the closest arena we could hack to. So yeah, here's us trying to fit in a tiny arena. Bless her, trying to have that saddle checked. But I will say it made a massive difference. It definitely made a big difference. She's so cute. My favourite bit is her little flicky ears. I absolutely love her little flicky ears. Honey's trying to join in and help. So this is the one and only video I have of us bolting. Even though it's one of her favourite places to bolt. And I say that, she's only probably done it 2 or 3 times in this area. But what happens is I'm an idiot, asked for a canter in the direction of home. And she was like, sure, and didn't want to stop and went as fast as she could. Until we got near the end, and then she slows herself up. So I'm like, fine, if you're going to do that, we will just keep going. I think I've heard of that somewhere, that when horses bolt, if it's safe to keep asking. And with Corry, it's not like I lose steering. I can still turn her when she bolts. I just can't slow down or stop. So we got near the end. And then I was like, okay, well, if you've chosen to run, we're just going to keep going until I felt her relax, if that makes sense. So it wasn't to tire her out, it wasn't to punish her, but it was just to say, if you are going to bolt off, then when you get tired, I'm just going to ask you to go once more, just so you remember that it doesn't always pay off to rush off. She then had Cartrophin injections for arthritis, had 8 months off, and I think it was 8 months. It was quite a while. And then we started cantering again. And this would have been in 2023 or 2024.
2022. That's when you broke it with Phil.
My sister thinks it's 2022. So it might be even earlier. I feel like time has kind of gone really quickly since this. And all of these videos now, I would think, are between 2022 and 2024. Because I don't think I took any videos last year, all of us doing anything. But yeah, I think I was so consistent this year. And it's something we meant that year. And it was one of the things we mentioned was we quickly kind of slipped into this. Once I felt like I'd cracked the canter enough that it felt safe and good on a hack, I've ended up just hacking Honey and Corry. We haven't been practicing much schooling, other than probably do it twice a year, last year at least. So it's something I definitely want to get back into, hence setting up this channel a bit this year. It's one of the goals is to get out schooling, and now we've got transport to actually go out. And when the ground's good and everything's been cut, I think we're going to set up schooling Sundays, is what me and Bex are going to call it, just to make sure we're on top of it. One of the things I learnt with Corry is 3 days is quite a nice spot for her in work. She is 18 now. And like I said earlier, she has Cartrophin injections to help with the joints. So I don't like doing more than 3 times, but 3 times seems to be the minimum to keep her nice and soft. If you don't do 3, she's a lot more tense and a little bit silly. So yeah, 3 times a week we learnt is a nice routine for Corry. Actually, after the cartrophin injections, what we stopped doing was lunging, because it was too much on her joints to do it, and trotting on roads, we stopped doing that. Again, just too much of an impact on her joints, because we're trying to keep her safe as much as we can. Trying to think now, actually. There was a line of track with what I was thinking, then it's just completely disappeared. Oh yeah, so one of the things to that, now that we only hack her without trotting, is I used to use trotting to help get past any nappiness. So if she was slow or thinking of turning back round and being a bit silly, as long as you trot, she's listening and she's going forward, so we didn't have the napping. But now that we are just walking,
That looks nice.
we find that she's more prone to bolting back. So what we do now
really nice.
is hack her only with honey. So schooling is
That's
fine
the
to go
best
out on her
one.
own, and like when we go out for lessons, she's on her own. But hacking wise, where we know she can sometimes be a bit more spooky or a little bit more silly, is she goes with honey. No more solo hacks. Though honey still does solo hacks, it's just not Corry. But I'm hoping what you guys can see through these last few videos is that I'd say 2022 to 2024, we really improved our game. She's still, especially at the start, she was struggling to bend right. And you can see here, what I like about the slow-mo is that I'm having to take big pulls. And this is where we had the lesson with Gem the other day, like quite recently, the one that we've already posted, where we were on about half halts, and you can see in that video I feel like I'm having to half halt with the inside rein, not the outside. So my outside is trying to keep her balanced, but the inside is doing half halts and like to manage the speed and the suppleness, which isn't ideal. So we've been trying to fix that a little bit out on hacks recently. Hopefully ready for our next lesson. But yeah, I'm just really proud of how like more soft and quiet she is from when we first started. Like when you look at the first videos, we were too quick, we were too tense, and we couldn't canter. And now we've got a lot more softness. She's a lot more relaxed, which means her head's coming down, so she's working over her back better. And the canter's a bit safer than what it was. We just need to keep working on that. We need to keep working on the suppleness. But hopefully we'll be able to enter a dressage test by the end of this year. Hopefully. So you'll see this is her good rein. And then wait until we change rein in a minute. So it all looks really nice here until I change the rein.
Just think a little bit, madam.
There we go, and up in the air again. She says, "Not this rein."
No.
And she's so cheeky, because when not cheeky, she probably does what a lot of horses do, which is predict it. And I'm almost thinking what I need to start doing in my warm-ups is actually try and incorporate canter earlier on into a warm-up. Because what she does as soon as she thinks there's going to be any canter work is she's quite tense waiting for the canter work. So I'm almost thinking I need to swap that round when I have my dressage lessons and see if we can do canter earlier. And like I say, I'll probably do walk to canter just to keep my confidence up that I can keep her balanced in it. Yeah, you can see just kind of bending out to the outside rather than the inside.
So that's all worse.
And so this is quite a good example of a tense Corry. So here we are hacking out. Now there's two options. I think if I look at this closely, she was due an injection. I feel like she's not quite right behind. The other reason she will be tensed down this is because she's expecting canter. Honey is out on the road, because if Honey was on the grass, Becca wouldn't have been able to have filmed, because Honey would also be suggesting we have a canter down this length. But yeah, so tense. And then when we can, we chose to do a bit of schooling down that field instead. So here we are on the worst rain. But you can see she's not as tense and she's travelling better, so I'm thinking I must have done this after some injections. And like I say, it's the joint injections. She gets them once a year, though we are considering having her hocks injected this year. And now the nice rain. And what you'll see in a minute is she steps on a stick, which I didn't see, so I apologise, Corry, I didn't see it. Yeah, there we go. You can even hear the snap. Sorry, Corry. And here's the girlies. So I'm on Corry, and here is my younger sister Sophie on Honey, and Becca is leading her. It's very cute. And then what I started doing, I think it was 2 years ago, was ride and lead. We don't have a lot of hours around work, especially in the winter. The horses drop down to twice a week, weather dependent. So as long as when it's my turn on my own, they'll do a ride and lead. So I ride Honey and lead Corry, and then on my and Becca's day off, we'll usually take them up for a walk up that lane. So yeah, they go very quiet when the clocks change. But hopefully this year with transport, we'll be able to keep going. But you can see that's again their favourite canter spot, but they're both tried down it nicely. And here's just a cute video of Corry deciding she will try a hula hoop, and actually she says it's quite nice, so I'll have another one. This horse, I swear, will eat anything. We gave her pumpkin. She quite liked pumpkin. She loves food. And just to finish off with, I thought I'd share some photos that we got. I think these were... Bex thinks it's 2024, these photos. But yeah, thank you so much for the heart of those, because they were very cute. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll probably do a one of Honey soon, but see you next time.